All right, welcome back. So this video is going to be about creating timeline animations. So a lot of what we've done so far is just static images on the screen. We did a little bit of motion with the timer example where we were counting up. And now we're going to do something with having some motion. And we're going to do that using keyframes with a timeline editor. And we'll throw a couple images on the screen and then maybe have some clouds or something that goes across the top. So these are real basic animations that maybe don't have a whole lot of interactivity to them. You just want to have them up there looping and doing something to make the screen look interesting. So things like clouds moving or maybe trees blowing in the wind or something like that would be a good candidate for what we're going to do here. So we're going to click through this a little bit quickly because we've done it before, changing the background color of our camera because that's annoying. I'm going to go here to our glitch PNG assets, and I'm going to start building a scene here. I'm just going to start dragging a couple things into, there you go, into our scene, into our assets window, and there you go. That'll be good enough. So here's our scene, zooming out with my scroll wheel, and I'm going to start to put a couple of these things there. I'm highlighting this little bush over here and hitting Control D. That duplicates it. Mac, you can do Command D, and I'm going to start to kind of make these things look a little bit different. So we're going to build just a little bit of a landscape here. Inverting stuff makes it look different too. And then copy all those at once and do it again. So I clicked on one of these. I clicked on the last one. I held down Shift to highlight all of them, and then I hit Control D, and it made me a full new copy of all of them. So here we go. There. So now in our scene, if I look at it, it looks like this. Great. I'm going to grab this exit sign so everybody knows we need to go over there. And I'm going to change my order and layer of that exit sign to 10 so it looks nice like this. Okay, that's where we want to go. But let's make this little thing here. It's an iceberg, but we're going to use it as a cloud. And I want the cloud to just kind of slowly move from the left to the right. That's what we're going to be working on. So I'm going to change the color of our background just a bit so that our cloud stands out. Let's darken it up. There we go. Little stormy thing. Oops. Go to my scene tab, drag this in. I'm going to stretch it out to make it look like a real cloud. And we'll put it over here. This. And I'm going to move it up in the layer. I'll make that a 10 as well. And if I look at our game, there it is. So what we want to do is just have this cloud slowly move across. And so I can do it this way too. Just like this. But we want it to move across without me having to click all kinds of things. So I'm going to move it back over here. We could do something like we did with the arrow key, where we had inside the update loop, we checked if the arrow key was being pressed. Then we would increment the X value of the position and move it over. We could do that again in the update loop and just not check for the X value or not check for the right arrow being pressed. You know, just always increment the X value. That would work fine. But we're going to do something slightly different. We're gonna show you something new. So we're going to have to open up some new windows here. So I'm going to go to Window and Animation. And this thing kind of popped up in the middle of my screen. I'm going to grab the tab and dock it down here at the bottom. You can customize this stuff wherever you want to put it, but I like to keep my animation stuff down here at the bottom. Okay, so back to my Project tab and my Scene view. I'm going to click on my cloud here called a snow top. Remember, I did get all this stuff from Glitch the Games. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you can grab all kinds of great 2D assets from Glitch the Game. Then I'm going to click on my animation tab. So with my object that I want to animate selected, in my animation tab, it says here to begin animating, create an animator and an animation clip and a create button. So I'm just going to click create. And I'll call this cloud animation. Why not? There we go. So now we have a timeline. these are in seconds. This is 0 seconds on the left, and this is 1 second on the right. So keep that in mind as you're trying to animate things. We're going to give it keyframes, and we're going to say at a certain time period, we want our object to be in this location. So for example, if I turn on my record button, and I'm just going to kind of jiggle this thing here, we're going to get a keyframe to start with, and then I can increment my timer to say 30, which is half a second. And let's say at half a second, I want it to be here. And then if I increment my timer to a minute, at a minute, I want it to be off the screen. So essentially what we'll see is it moves slowly and then move quickly to get off. So let's see what happens if I hit play. It's moving, then it cruises, and it loops. So it's slow, and then it's fast. And there it goes. That's a very, very fast moving cloud. So we can slow that down just a little bit if we want to. With my scroll wheel down here, I am zooming out of our time here, and maybe I want to delete these keys and maybe move my timeline out to 4 seconds. And maybe at 4 seconds, I want it to be here. So, oops. What did I do? Well, I set my timeline to 4 seconds, but I did not click the little record button over here. So let's record that. 4 seconds. We want it to be off screen. And it created our keyframes here. Now we could add keyframes by clicking this button as well, but I put the record thing on because it makes it a little bit easier. So there it goes. So it's fast at first because we have this keyframe here at 30 seconds, and then it slowly moves off. So that's the idea with keyframes. And you can tweak any kind of properties that you want. So I'll go back to my record thing, and maybe what we want to have happen here as well is we want this cloud to gradually get smaller. So we could do that. And then I'll move it back this way. Something like this. So now we'll see not only is it moving, but it's starting to shrink. So you can use that to give a cool effect of maybe it's something is going into the background, or who knows what you want, what you're trying to do. But you can do this. And then you could also tweak things such as rotation too if you wanted to. So if we go back to this animation, click our record button, we're over here at 4 seconds. I could click on this rotate. We could do this. So then when we play it, we have a keyframe for rotation as well, and it starts to do that. So any of those properties that you want to do, it's going to interpolate between the last keyframe and the most recent keyframe and make it look pretty good. There's a lot of things you want to, if you want to tweak this stuff, you can hit over here. These down arrows will give you more specifics as far as what's going on if you need to get in there and change them. And then there's also, this is what they call the dope sheet. This is the dope sheet, which is these keyframes. But then we have these curves that determine and show you the acceleration of all these different parameters that are changing. And you can get in here and actually start to tweak these things. So if you don't like the acceleration and deceleration, you can get into this curves tab and really start to make it look how you want it to look. And so that's just another way to tweak this to make it perfect. But you can get pretty close just by using a dope sheet and moving this around. So that is keyframes and animations.